I've been feeling that itch to play Skyrim again, and even after a decade of playing it, I still keep coming back to it. I've restarted Skyrim more times than I can count, probably hundreds of times since I first started playing in 2013. Yet every time I get to a certain point in my playthrough, this same thought reappears at the back of my mind that asks me, what would it be like if I started again? If I chose this class instead, or this race, or completed a quest line this way instead of that way. I always know when it happens, right when I make a big decision like siding with the Dawn Guard over the Volkihar, and I can't help but wonder what it might be like to be the bad guy, or vice versa. And every single time I fold, I reload back to the prisoner cart at Helgen, and go through the whole character creation process all over again. And every time I tell myself that this playthrough will be different, that I'll stick to this character, that I'll commit to it till the bitter end. But I'm always lying to myself, and the cycle always ends up repeating itself sooner or later. This has all caused me to ask myself, why does this happen? When I looked online, I found a startling number of people who experienced the same thing, and even named it restartitis, which sounds dangerously close to a bad word, so I'm not going to repeat it again. But the evidence is still clear that I'm not alone in this experience, which still begs the ultimate question: why do I keep restarting Skyrim? When you start at Helgen, the world is literally a blank slate, just waiting for you to interact with it. No quests have been finished, nothing has been started, nothing has been changed or yet ruined. I've always liked that Skyrim starts you off as a prisoner. It makes you feel like nothing, putting you at rock bottom, so now you get to decide who you want to be. It's that very thing which attracts people to open world games, the freedom of choice to be who you want to be in this fantastical world. And yet when you're right at the beginning of it, there's something peaceful about knowing that I haven't committed to anything yet. Something weirdly relaxing and freeing, that I can just sit back and observe this world move on around me and without me. But the state can't exist forever. Skyrim's entire world is impacted by the decisions you make, and the Skyrim you end a playthrough with can be almost unrecognizable to the one you started with. You can spend hundreds of hours with a single character, monotonously grinding through dungeons and completing fetch quests. And sometimes it's nice to feel like you have a blank slate again, to have free reign to make different choices, or even just to experience the same choices all over again. It's like that childlike feeling of going down a water slide and then immediately climbing back up just to go down it again. It doesn't have to make sense, there doesn't have to be a logic to it. Sometimes it just scratches that base itch, that primal human fascination that drives us to baselessly desire comfort. Skyrim never locks you into a class. It never forces you down a specific path, but to make the most of it, most players tend to focus on a specific playstyle. Heavy or light armor, magical weapons, or a mix of whatever you want. Yes, even if it's stealth archer. In the beginning, freedom is exciting. You get to pick up the litter to do what you want. Yet there's always this strange moment when a character stops feeling like an experiment, something to mold and shape, and starts to feel more permanent. When I've locked into a certain skill and playstyle, it's when I realize that this is who they are now, and suddenly all the other possible versions I could have been feel unreachable. It's the same with some of Skyrim's major questlines. When you first escape Helgen, the world is laid bare before you and you're free to go down any path. But no matter where you go, the world starts pulling at you, asking you to belong somewhere, to make a choice. When you leave Riverwood and first head to Whiterun, you run right into the companions and can choose to begin their questline. Same when you go to Riften with the Thieves Guild or the Dark Brotherhood or the Mages College. And what Skyrim does brilliantly is making you feel immersed and enamored with the story as you go. You get introduced to and learn about certain characters. You discover the lore of the factions, its origins, and the places they inhabit. And alongside all of that, you get great personal satisfaction from seeing your character grow and develop in skill as the questline peaks. Yet it all eventually has to end. And sometimes that ending can feel a bit abrupt. When that last quest fades from the screen and when you hit 100 in any specific skill, it can all feel a bit anticlimactic. But this becomes you, your character. It becomes cemented into the world, no longer as a passive observer, but now as a tangible part that has been in it and drastically affected it. Skyrim will never be the same after your actions, and once your decisions materialize, when they become real, all other possibilities die. I've explained this before, but I am immensely familiar with Skyrim, as I assume most veteran players are. I can picture entire questlines in my head and which decisions will lead to what outcomes. I know exactly what line of dialogue belongs to each character, as well as their names, where they live, and so much more.
Spit it out, mortal! I haven't got an eternity.
Eventually, I craved more information, more knowledge about this world I loved, and dived deep into written lore about this place we inhabit. And as enriching as that experience is, the sad result of it is the loss of innocence. The burden of knowledge that you will never again get to experience what it felt like when you first embarked into Skyrim. The first time you met your favorite characters and learned about the main story. The first time you completed the main story, its DLCs, and maxed out your character. Yet every time I come back to Skyrim, I still continually chase that feeling. Like I'm deluding myself into thinking that if I play hard enough, if I steamroll my way through this world and 100% it as fast as I can, I'll get a new feeling. Or at least, maybe, something similar to how I first felt. I imagine a world with every item collected, quest completed, and location explored, and it seems such an ambitious and alien goal that I convince myself that this is what I've been missing, that this is what will make Skyrim fun again. Because, at the moment, everything is the same mundanity I've known for over a decade now. Hell, maybe I'm just tired of waiting for Elder Scrolls 6, I really don't know. I did try it, once upon a time. At least on Steam, I 100%ed both the original Skyrim and Skyrim Special Edition, getting every achievement and that nice little ribbon on the Steam page that says you're done. But even when I achieved that, it felt extremely bittersweet. Hollow, even. And when I'm in the game, that hollowness manifests into the almost laughable trope of skipping lines of dialogue because you know them so well, or just jumping around fast traveling from place to place, completing quests as fast as possible. Because there's no more exploration, no more wonder or discovery, but just tedious tasks that you remember being fun. It was then I realized that I really wasn't playing Skyrim anymore. I was clearing it. And yet ironically, and perhaps unsurprisingly, it's through these types of playthroughs that I get burnt out the most, and consequently become the most likely to start all over again. Not because anything went wrong at all, precisely because everything went right, but the underlying truth of it being that I wasn't present anymore. The feeling that I bulldoze my way through this world without immersing myself in it is incredibly dissatisfying and isolating. It's never enough. And I always believe the next playthrough will hit that mark, scratch that itch, and satisfy my craving. But it never does. When asking, why do we restart Skyrim, some people point to the game itself as the main reason. That it's somehow a fault of some base flaw in the game's story or its mechanics. But is that really the case? I can count many times personally when I've restarted a Fallout or Witcher playthrough, or created a new Minecraft or Terraria world well before I'd finished the main story in any of those games. It's a phenomenon not unique to Skyrim, but a ubiquitous experience across all of gaming, which means the constant restarting isn't an indictment of Skyrim, it's a reflection on me. Nowadays, as I make my way through my early 20s, I almost begin to mourn the child I've left behind, That kid who could sit at his computer all day and become completely enraptured in a world without any fear of staying up too late or having any expectations to pull you away. I view that time through rose-colored glasses. I view it as incredibly nostalgic. It not only feels like a more free time, but also an incredibly innocent one. A time where I wasn't exposed to the influence of other people's expectations upon my game style. Where I wasn't criticized for preferring RPGs over tactical shooters or multiplayer games. A time where I could just sit in a world that was absolutely alien, that was unfathomably huge, and could naturally give myself permission to completely lose myself in it. But like I said, I'm now almost mourning that period of my life. Time is never static, it's always marching forward. And somewhere along the way, I woke up and I found that that child was gone. And those original experiences he had, those feelings first playing Skyrim, the awe and wonder, they're all but memories. I'll never experience them again. Yet I continuously play Skyrim, restarting it again and again, because some part of me longs for it. Like some part of me is hanging on to my inner child, and just wants to feel free, to feel blissfully ignorant and innocent again. And what playing Skyrim again has taught me is I seem to do that where it feels safe. I constantly restart to Helgen because I seek shelter in the safety of beginnings, where lives are left untouched and the burdens of decisions have yet to be made. I restart because beginnings feel safe. They feel meaningful and full of possibility. And sometimes the endings, they just feel like loss. It has taken me a long time to realize that this isn't really about Skyrim at all. Maybe I'm not afraid of saying goodbye to Skyrim. Maybe I'm just afraid of saying goodbye to a part of myself. Before I go, I just wanted to say a huge thank you all for 500 subscribers. The outpouring of kindness I've been getting has been genuinely incredible, and I just wanted to say a huge thank you. The channel is still just me, and I put a lot of time and effort into these videos, so if you enjoy this kind of work and want to support it, I've enabled channel memberships. It's completely optional, but if you choose to support me, it's just $3 a month, and it genuinely helps me keep making videos like this. But either way, thanks for being here, and I'll see you in the next video.